Well, we are at the top of the hour, so I think we'll get started because we've got a really great evening in store for all of you tonight. First of all, welcome, welcome, welcome. On behalf of Lions Virtual and the Global Lions Forum, we're so happy that you could join us today for what's going to be a fantastic session that we hope is going to inspire you, each and every one of you, to be the key to your club's success. I am Lion Jody Burmester. I'm a co-founder of Lions Virtual and one of the Global Lions Forum moderators. And I'm really honored to be your moderator here tonight as well. As we get started, I have just a couple of housekeeping issues for you all. First of all, I hope you're ready to take some notes and photos of slides and however else you'd like to capture the information that's going to be shared tonight. Because I've seen what Chris is going to be sharing with you, and there's a lot of great ideas and resources that I'm sure you're going to want to be able to access again as you move forward in the next year or two. I do also want to let you know that there's going to be a question and answer session at the end of Chris's formal comments, and it's going to be your opportunity to share your questions about being the key to your club's success. We do ask that you type them into the chat window, and you can feel free to drop them in the chat window throughout the session. We will be capturing them and using those to ask Chris questions at the end of the session of his comments. I also would like to let you know something very important. Let me get a quick screen up for you. This is a common question we get all the time. Am I going to get a recording? Is there a certificate? So let me show you some of the fun things as soon as my computer catches up here. Chris, maybe you can share that slide. My computer seems to be lagging a bit here. Can you share slide 2 by any chance, Chris?
It should be there now.
Thank you. This is at the end of this session, we are going to be emailing to each and every registrant a certificate of participation, a link to the recording for this session that you can use and share however you like, all the links that are going to show up in the chat throughout our evening or throughout our session today. Also, some of the other support materials and resources that we have that Chris will be talking about throughout the evening. The Club Excellence Award application and 2 really cool documents that Chris has provided that number one of them is 100 ideas to recruit new Lions, and 100 service ideas is another one that he's going to be sharing with all of us. All of that will come out in an email from Lions Virtual within about a week or so of this session this evening. Chris, if you'd like to stop sharing that, I think we can go back and we'll be back to your sharing in just a couple of minutes here. The other piece I need to catch you up on, or just one more housekeeping item, is my screens all just went black. So hold on a second. Actually, that was all of housekeeping. Congratulations, we made it through housekeeping. I love it. I do want to introduce you to some of our members of the Global Lions Forum team who are going to be monitoring and moderating the chat this evening. So with that, Lion Richard Stevenson, I'm going to put a spotlight on you and let everyone see you. Richard is actually one of the founders and driving forces behind the Global Lions Forum. Without Richard, there would be no Global Lions Forum in the start of it, and there would be no Global Lions Forum going on a daily basis. He spends a lot of time. So Richard, thank you for all you do, and thank you for moderating tonight. We also have one of our GLF moderators, Lion Lisa Gismondi. She is from Pennsylvania, as I recall. Do I have that right? Yep. Awesome. She will be one of your chat moderators. Our other chat moderator is another one of our Global Lions Forum moderators, and that is Kim Stewart out of Nova Scotia.
Yes, I'm happy to be here tonight.
Awesome. Thank you. You can look for them in the chat window as we're talking and dropping in different pieces of what we are looking or talking about as we're going on. With that, I do have a surprise. Let me remove this from Kim here. And I have a surprise guest to introduce our speaker for the evening. And even Chris doesn't know this surprise guest is here. So let me just, well, he's still coming on. I can tell you that Chris has actually been a Lion since 2014. And he is a member of the Orange Lions Club in Texas. He's been 3rd vice president, and he became that 3 months after joining the club organization. He has been a zone chair. He is a past district governor. He is a global membership champion for both his multiple and his district. And he is a global membership team coordinator. So Chris is one busy guy.
Past District Governor Chris leads by example. He was district governor in 1920, and he was part of the NAMI field service for that particular year. Past District Governor Chris has a very challenging district, and he was able to turn it around and have a positive in membership in several years. But you know, he did his work as district governor, but he has continued to lead by example and has provided great leadership for multiple District 2, Texas. He is the MD2 Texas multiple district champion, and he does a tremendous job. He brings people together, and together we can. And I am so proud and extremely happy to be able to present tonight's keynote speaker, past District Governor Chris Gunstrom. And I hope, Chris, that you know that I'm everywhere, wherever you are, I'm right there behind you.
I have to say, thank you.
And welcome to all the participants, okay?
Well, TJ, I want to thank you very much. It is always a pleasure and an honor to just kind of hang out with you and be around you. And I appreciate all the help and support that you have given to me personally, going back an awful long time ago. And more importantly, what you do for MD2 and in support of the GMA process within not only the state of Texas, but blindism worldwide. So thank you, TJ, and I appreciate the kind words.
The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, then let me share all this good stuff here. Welcome, everybody. I am Chris Gunstrom. I'm from District 2S1 in MD2, Texas, and I am so glad to be with you this evening. And I hope that the information that I am able to pass on to you will have you wanting to go out and put the GMA process into action at your club level. This is not an overview or a talk about the GMA process at the district level. This is about the club approach. This is to help clubs become successful using the GMA process. As Jody has stated, you're going to be able to get a certificate for participation. There will be some items that are going to be downloaded or that you can download that we will be sharing in the chat box. So please make note of that. So if you need any of that stuff, please just download it. So let's get started with this. The objectives tonight. Now, our objectives are going to be there's literally 4 objectives that we're going to do and take a look at. One is we're going to learn how to build a team, and that kind of comes through club elections. We're going to build a vision, and since we have so many people on here, we talk about building a vision as a SWOT analysis. That would be your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and threats. However, I want you to keep in mind that you're going to only hear me talk about strengths and weaknesses this evening. We're going to learn what it means to build a plan or to set club goals. And finally, we're going to talk about build success or communication. So those are the 4 areas that we're going to look at this evening. So we'll get right into building a team. To build a team, it's kind of at the club level, it really is kind of baked into the cake, if you will. Every year we have a club elections. In those elections, we elect a president, vice president, secretary, a treasurer, a membership chair. So that team is sort of already built in. But do you think there could be anybody else that might be able to be on that team? Just think about it for a minute. How do we build the team? We built it with the election. And who else should be on it? Well, I don't know. Maybe think about this. How about your most senior lion that you have within your club, and maybe your most junior lion that you have in the club? Have a diverse group of people that will come together to help your GMA team learn and grow and help your club to advance in not only just membership, but the other areas that the GMA process covers. I have to ask you this question. I do this from in my multiple and in my clubs that I visit. Is your membership chair an elected position, and are they a part of your board of directors? Membership chairs should be elected, and they should be part of your board of directors. And who else can you think that might want to be a part of your team? Who would you want to put on that team? Remember, this is all your ability to do yourself at the club level. Nobody's going to tell you who needs to be on the team. Nobody's going to tell you who you have to assign. This is up to you. Who do you feel comfortable with? Who do you feel that's going to help you and help your club in growth, not only in membership, but service, leadership, and LCIF contributions? So once we've built that team, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to have to build a vision. And building a vision starts by doing a SWOT analysis. But as you heard me talk about earlier, as we started this, we're only going to talk about what I refer to as a SWOT, or a strength and a weakness. So I'm going to ask you, and just think about it kind of quickly. What are the most important areas of concern for you at your club level? For you at your club. Now, I'm not talking about a person not making it to all the service projects, or somebody not showing up for a club meeting. That's not what I'm referring to. What are the areas of your biggest concern? Do you need more members? Do you think you need to be doing more service within your community? How is your leadership succession going? Do you have a good program in place to develop new and upcoming leaders? And excuse me, more importantly, what about LCIF contribution? Does your club have a goal for that? What are the concerns? And from those concerns, pick out, I don't know, 3 or 4 of those that are concerns. And those are the 3 or 4 that you want to work on with this year. Don't have to list 10 or 15, because believe me, you're never going to be able to get all 10 or 15 of them done. Now, just think about this. How hard would it be to complete a full SWOT analysis at your club? Just to give you an example, at a club level, it's going to take about 4.5 hours to do a complete strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat analysis. Now, think about it again. 4.5 hours. How many people do you normally have at a typical Lions Club meeting when you meet, either weekly, every 2 weeks, or once a month, or however often that you meet? Do you get every one of your Lions to be at that meeting? Probably not. And just think, if we're going to ask every one of our Lions to come and sit in for a 4 to 4.5 hour session, and we're probably going to do that on a Saturday when it's easier for everybody to get together, do you think you're going to get all of your Lions to come and sit down and do that in one session? My answer is probably no, you won't. Some of you may be able to get a large number of your Lions together, but most of us would not be able to do that. So let's take away that opportunity and threat, and let's just talk about strengths and weaknesses for right now. And do you think that your club could complete a strength and weakness analysis within a 1 hour time frame? I think you probably can. And if you think about it, I think you would think that you could also. So once we've gone through this and we've figured out what our strengths and weaknesses are, in other words, what we do well and what we need to, and what we have challenges with, once we've been able to identify 2, 3, 4 items in what we do well, and 2, 3, 4 items in what we have issues with, then we can do the very next thing that we should be thinking about, and that is, I had a slide get out of whack. I'm sorry. It's a little bit of a quote here that I enjoy, and I think it's quite important that we think about doing things the way that Van Gogh has said here. Great things are done by a series of small things brought together. So if we look at doing just a little bit and we put all those little bitty pieces together, we can really get some really big things done if we just do it step at a time. So we're going to build a plan. Once we've decided what we're going to work on, we need to build a plan, and we need to figure out how and develop a roadmap on how we're going to get there. So we'll start off with this good old triangle. This is kind of the way that we have been structured for years and years and years within Lions Clubs International. The top of that triangle being the district leadership, and the base of that triangle, that is our club, that's our clubs. So back during the old way of doing business, district governors would go out and do district governor goals each year. They would reinvent the wheel depending upon what they wanted to accomplish for that year. So they would tell the clubs, okay, my goal this year, my goal, district governor, my goal this year is to be a plus 100 in membership. Problem with that is that the district governor did not go out and ask the clubs in his district or her district, what are your goals for membership? Without even thinking, they came up with a number. Now, a lot of it may have been some good analysis on their own part, taking a look at 3 to 5 years over the last 3 to 5 years of what they've done in membership growth, and come up with what they want to be and what they should be for a membership growth for this year. But they were doing it on their own in a silo or on an island. They were making these decisions for the entire district without any consultation. Underneath the GMA process, we want to flip that triangle. We want to put the clubs at the top. The clubs are at the top of this, and all that information now filters down to the district level. So the clubs are now telling the district exactly what they're going to be able to do during the Lions year. How many members they're going to be able to bring in, what their losses are going to be for the year, how many service projects, how many service hours they're going to do, what is going to be the number of people that they're going to serve this year, what their leadership is going to be like, and what their LCIF contribution is going to look like. Once we get the clubs doing that, and then filtering that down to the all the way down to the district level, then the district governor can then truly develop a set of district goals. They're not the district governor goals, they are the district goals. And if we're able to do that, just think of this. There are two things that will happen. One is we have instant buy-in on the goals that have been established, because each club within the district has made their own goal for that year. And secondly, we can now hold clubs accountable for their performance. And no, we're not going to punish anybody if they're falling a little bit short or they're not getting there. But what we can do is provide some additional help that the club might need, find additional resources that we can bring to bear to help that club to meet those goals that they've set out for themselves. So this is the reason that we take a look at the GMA process. We're flipping the system around. We're putting it where it needs to be, the emphasis at the club level, and then let the clubs tell the district what they're going to do. And oh, by the way, I know there's a few GMTs on this call, and I feel sure there's a few multiple district GMTs, and I'm going to make a comment that I know that my multiple district 2 GMT just cringes when he hears this. Sometimes that goal of membership growth of 0 or plus 1 might be a really good number, because you may have clubs that have historically over the last 5, 6, 10 years had negative growth. If you can stop that kind of issue by just ending the year with a net 0, then that is moving in the right direction. So think about it this way. A club is going to tell the district what they're going to do. So let's build a plan in membership. So how does your club go about setting membership goals? Do you take a look at what your past history has been, at least over the last 3 to 5 years? And if you're not doing that, then all you need to do is get with your club secretary, and you can find out the number of members over the last 3 to 5 years that you have had in bringing in, whether it be 5 members for a year or whether it be 50 members for a year. You get that number, then you can take a look and average that out and then kind of get to a number that might be something that you feel is a goal that is attainable for your club. And I would ask you to try to stretch it a little bit. Let's, if your number comes up to 2, well, make that a 3. Say you're going to bring in 3 members this year, or whatever the case might be, but give it a little bit of a stretch. Other than setting membership goals, is there anything else that you can think of that we might want to do when we start talking about membership? Well, I don't know about you, but we also have people going out the back door. So we need to think about retention. How many members are we gonna lose this year? And I don't know of a lot of clubs that think about that part of this process. They think about how many members are going to bring in, but they don't think about how many members they're going to lose. And you need to set a number for that, because that is part of the retention issue that we all are working on year in and year out. And we all talk about, we don't have a recruiting problem, we have a retention problem. And that is really what we need to think about. How can we reduce the number of losses? So we need to have a retention plan put into place. And who's going to be responsible for this? Do we need a committee? And who should be on that committee? Well, the club membership chair is going to be the responsible party for this, but that is the membership chair's job, is to be the chairman of the committee. And yes, there should be a committee of people to help that membership chair. Again, the membership chair is the chairman of that committee. They're not responsible for the overall membership of the club. That is every club member's responsibility to help with membership growth and to help with membership retention. But we need to have a team at the club level that is concerned and is focusing on membership growth and membership retention. Member orientation and engagement. When I'm giving this presentation in a live audience, I will ask the question and I'll say, how many of you in here have been to or have received new member orientation when you first joined Lions? And I'll ask them to raise their hand. And I'm intentionally not raising my hand because I would not raise my hand at one of those meetings. I am a past district governor who never went through new member orientation. Now, I have given new member orientation, but I did not receive it as a new member coming in. And that's kind of a sad thing, because that's how we learn about our organization. That's how our new Lions learn what we do, who we are, and why we do what we do. Now, we don't need to give them the full hour and a half to 2 hour lecture or session on orientation to Lions, but at least let them know who it is, who we are, what we do, and why we do it. That way they have a sense of belonging to our organization. And the next thing is to keep our members engaged. The worst thing that we can do is to not engage that new member or any of our members in the areas that they want to be involved in. But one of the things that we don't do, at least I see this in a number of different districts that I talk with, some of the things that we don't do is we don't listen to that new member when they come in to Lions. We don't listen to find out what it is that they're passionate about. And we never ask them, why are you here? What is your passion? I'll use myself as an example. I'm from a club that does a carnival. It's a great carnival. My background is I'm an old retired Navy guy, and I'm a retired professional golfer, not the guy you saw on TV. I just ran golf courses. But I had a lot of background working in the food industry when I was in the golf industry. So when I went to my club, I joined. They knew that I had this background. They have a carnival. I wanted to go work on a particular ride. Where did they want me to go? They wanted me to go flip hamburgers for the carnival. The worst place in the world they could have put me. I had no desire to flip hamburgers. But nobody asked the question, what was I passionate about? So we need to make sure that we engage our members and engage them in areas that they are passionate about and in areas where they want to be. So there's part of this building a plan for membership. How about building a service plan? Does your club think at all about why they need to build a service plan, or do they even think about building service? You know, if we don't have a plan for that, then how are we going to make sure we're meeting the needs of the community? You know, 70% of our service is done in our core areas, and those are the Lion Charities and LCIF. That's where 70% of our service is normally comes from. 20% of that comes from new areas. Those are things that we get if we get new people in our club, we get new members, our club is growing, then we can maybe branch out and find another area of service that our community needs and start that service in that new area. And then 10% of the service that we do should be outside of the box. You know, things like partnerships. Can you think of of another organization that you and your club might be able to partner with? I mean, we can talk about that dreaded R word, the Rotaries, or we could talk about the Elks or whoever else, but those are organizations that we can partner with, and we can actually do some great things by partnering with other service organizations in our local area. So if we're talking about building a plan for service, do you think we might need to know or have a plan about the number of projects that we're going to do this year? Your club, how many projects is your club going to do? Is it going to be 2? Is it going to be 5? Whatever that number is, plan on that. Make a goal, set a goal for the number of projects your club is going to do. Then, number of people that you're going to serve. How many people is your club planning on serving this year based upon the number of projects that they're going to do? And finally, volunteer hours. How many volunteer hours is your club going to do? You know, each time we add a new member, we should be able to add more volunteer hours. Each time we add a new member, we should be able to theoretically increase the number of people served. And hopefully, for every new member that we add, maybe we might be able to get one more service project. We know that we're getting at least 2 hands to help in service. So we think about this. Every club should have a goal set for service. It's not just membership. The GMA is not all membership. It is also membership. It is service. And it is also leadership. We need to have a plan made for our leadership. We need to think about what we're going to do to ensure that we have some sort of leadership training and leadership succession planning going on. I mean, how do you select your club members? Are you like a lot of clubs that I talk to and that tell me that they select their members through the PAN method? And for those of you who don't know what PAN stands for, that is pick a name. So-and-so over here is going to be the club president. Oh, by the way, you're going to be our vice president. You're going to be the treasurer. You're going to be the secretary. They just pick a name. That is who goes into that. We don't think about how we're going to have succession planning. And believe me, if you start doing this now, it's not going to all take place this year. It's going to take a little bit of time to put that into play or put that into motion. But if you don't start, I can guarantee you one thing, it'll never happen. Is there a mentoring program in place for your new Lions and potential leaders? Are you aware that in Lions, Lions Clubs International has a mentoring program, which is a mentoring program for new Lions, and we also have an advanced mentoring program for potential leaders. The structure is already there. The information and the mechanisms are already there and provided to us by Lions Clubs International. All we have to do is use those tools. So if you don't have that mentoring program in place, get a mentoring program. I'm not to suggest to you the mentor may not always be the sponsor. That may not be the best person to be the mentor. There are clubs that the sponsor is somebody that may not even know that new member coming in. So think of somebody that would be a good mentor for that new line you got coming in, and think of somebody that might be a great mentor for that potential leader, and put that process into action. It will help you. And finally, is there a leadership development plan? I can think of nothing that is more important to the long-term viability of a Lions Club than having good leadership development plan in place. I mean, think about it. How many of you know of clubs, or maybe your own club, who has had the same club president or the same club secretary or the same club treasurer for the last 15 years? How often does this happen? And when that happens, do we not stagnate our leadership? Does that it becomes entrenched, and we don't have new thoughts and new ideas coming forward. So if we don't have new thoughts and new ideas coming forward, just think of what that could possibly have, an effect that could possibly have on bringing in new members, or for the new members that we've just brought in. Again, it's something that you need to work on now. It's not something you're gonna tackle and finish. If you start right now, it's gonna take a while. But believe me, you need to start, because it is how our clubs will grow and how our clubs will maintain their longevity if we have good leadership development plan in place. Finally, we need to make sure that we build a plan for Lions Clubs International Foundation, our foundation, that foundation that does all the work for us, that we call on and ask upon whenever there is a need in our communities. And believe me, there has been a tremendous amount of need all over the world, and our foundation has been the first one to step up there and help us. And it's just wonderful that we have this foundation. But the problem is, do we have a contribution goal that we want to meet, or that we have set in our club? Or is it just an afterthought? Are we just sending in that minimal amount of money per member per year to meet the obligation of 100% for our club? Or are we looking at a goal, something that we might want to try to shoot for? You know, is there a plan to meet the goal? If you have a goal, do you have a plan in place in order to meet that goal for LCIF contribution? So in other words, if you're gonna goal this year is to give away a Melvin Jones Fellowship, what goal do you have? What plan do you have in place in order for you to reach that goal of $1,000 to be able to purchase that Melvin Jones Fellow for this year? There needs to be a plan in place to make sure that you do that. Or maybe your goal is for your club to become a model club. What plan do you have in place for your club to get there? So in building our goals, it's not just membership, it is also service, it is also leadership, and it is also our LCIF contribution plan. I love this quote from Michael Jordan. It really rings home for me and rings true to me. I can accept failure, and yes, we will all fail, but I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I cannot accept not trying. That to me is the key to this whole thing about the GMA process. Is we have to learn, we have to try. We just cannot continue to sit back and do the same thing over and over and over again and think we're going to get a different result. We have to be willing to accept some change here. We have to be willing to try. So that's what I'm asking you all to do, is to try. So you can do this. You can do this. The good part about building this plan is most of the time we look at our clubs and we're always thinking, who can we have as a program for our club this year, or for this week, or the next 2 weeks? Who can we call on to get a program? What does our club need to hear from? I'm going to make a suggestion to you. It's a real radical suggestion. How about we have our club as our program? How about if we take 2 club meetings and have our club be the program? And during those 2 meetings, we do the first thing is we do a strength and weakness analysis, or we find out what we do well and what we have our challenges with. And that second club meeting is we talk about and we develop the goals that our club wants to do, or what we want to meet. And believe me, you can sit down in 1 hour meeting and do that analysis. And I would also bet you that you could sit down. In fact, I know you can. In another 1 hour meeting, you can do your goals, and you can also start working on building the plan. That way you have your membership that is working together to develop not only what your strengths and weaknesses are, but your membership is helping you develop the plan, the goals and the plan on how you're going to get there. You can do this. I know you can. I've seen it done. I've seen this done in a number of clubs and in a number of districts. And believe me, when they're working the process and they're following this process, it is a wonderful thing to see. And those clubs and districts are successful, very successful. Build a plan. Where do you see your club in 3 to 5 years? I'm not talking about trying to make a strategic plan, but where do you see your club in a 3 to 5 year period? Are you going to be here in 5 years? Is your club going to be around in 5 years? And where do you see your club? Where do you see it going? What's happening? So think about that and know that this is very important for your club to think about. You need to build a plan and you need to take action. Once you build that plan, the most important thing that you must do is you must take action with that plan. It is just, it's incredible how many times people will build this plan, but they will not be committed to making sure that they take action. Once we've done this, once we have built a team, once we have built a vision, once we have build our plan, we can now build success. And this is the final section of the GMA process, is building success. A plan without action is only a dream. And boy, is that very true. A plan without action is only a dream. To build success, building success examples. I'm going to kind of give you, if we were doing this in a face-to-face version, I'd ask for some examples of building success, but I'm going to kind of take a little bit of a different turn here. I'm going to talk about a club that is in my MD and MD2 and out of my district, one of our districts, District X1. And this club is a club that was a struggling club at the beginning of last year. And when I say a struggling club, this was a club that had a grand total of 2 people, a president and 1 other member. And this president was tenacious, wanted to make sure that this club was gonna survive. She called upon the district and the district leadership to give her some help. And what they did is they put the GMA process into action at that club level in rebuilding this club. With help from the district and other clubs within the area, other clubs in that district, they helped this club president and this other member. Obviously, that was the team. Well, they had a district team that they built to help her. So they built a team. Then they built a vision. They actually did a SWOT analysis on a 2-person club. They built a vision, and then they built a plan. Over the course of this last year and now into this year, that club has gone from 2 people to a grand total of 17 members of that club. Now that is pretty remarkable growth. And they did that by using the GMA process just to rebuild a club. We have seen this happen also in districts that have been struggling. I saw it happen in my own district during my year as a governor, as part of the pilot program for the North America Membership Initiative, which now is a global membership approach. My district was a district that was negative in membership for years, and we put the process into place. We started working on it and building it, and I went from being negative to a positive membership in my district in just a 1-year period. So it works. It truly does work. Do you think that constant communication is essential to building success? Believe me, it truly is. If we don't communicate what we're doing, we don't communicate what we're succeeding in, we don't communicate in what our challenges are continuing to be, then we are going to have a heck of a time trying to be successful. We have to have constant and communication in order to be successful. And what role does recognition play? In my opinion, I think recognition plays an important role. We need to recognize a line for what they do for our club. And it doesn't matter if it's a big job or if it's a little job. If it's somebody, and I think which is a very big job, is that person that is greeting our Lions as they come through the door at a Lions Club meeting. We need to thank them for doing that. Or we need to thank somebody for taking charge of whatever it might have been, no matter how insignificant it may be, in the overall spectrum, it was important to him or her. So it should be important to us to recognize that lion. So recognition is an extremely important thing, and it needs to be public. It doesn't have to be grandiose. It can be just an open thank you. It does, again, it doesn't have to be a big thing, but make it a point to say thank you to lions that help us and help our clubs. It's really important and it's very critical in order for us to be successful when we do that. The success formula is everyone understands the goals, plus everyone is a part of achieving the goal, which equals success. And how I view that in the way that I see it is we build success by making sure that everyone understands the goal and they believe they are a significant part, that they are a significant part in the attainment of the goal. Everybody has to feel that they are part of this process, and everybody needs to feel that their contribution helps our club get to that end result, and that is being a successful club. In our building of success, we want to continue with regular progress reports and discussion. I don't care how what you want to use for a progress report. There's a great tool that is provided for by in the GMA webpage from Lions Clubs International, and that is a goals dashboard. Use it. It's a very, very good tool. It's an easy tool to use and to monitor your goals for the year. How important do you think accountability is? It's extremely important. If we're going to give somebody a job, we want to hold them accountable for that job. It doesn't mean we're gonna beat up on somebody for not doing something. But if somebody is going to take on that role of responsibility, we need to also hold them accountable in doing that job. And if they're having issues or trouble with doing that, then we need to find out if we need to provide some more support or whatever else that they might need. We need to make sure that we hold folks accountable, including ourselves. Do you have a marketing plan? Most clubs, marketing is a secondary thought. I will tell you, if you do not have a good social media marketing plan in place, get one. That's not the end all to be all, but it is a start. Make sure you have a web page that your club can promote to people. Make sure that you have a good social media platform page that you're working with, and don't make it a closed page, please. If you're using Facebook, don't make that a closed Facebook page. Make it open. You want people to be able to see what you're doing. Promote your club. Find a way that use the local newspaper, local radio station, any way that you can possibly promote your club to your community. You need to do that. You know, earning the Club Excellence Award proves that your plan has worked. If your club at the end of the year has met all the requirements for the Club Excellence Award, that means that your club has a plan that worked for this year. Put a plan in place, work that plan, and make sure that you are successful. If you do that, I can almost guarantee you that your club will be a Club Excellence Award winning club. Some additional resources, human resources. We're going to talk about our zone chairs, our global membership approach coordinators, and our district team and our district governor team. They're there to help us. That's wonderful resources for you to use. Plan for your club success, the GMA brochure, which is a part of this and it should be shared into the chat area. Membership growth toolbox, another very excellent tool and resource that's out there. There's just a ton of stuff inside that. These resources are there for you. Use them. Don't be afraid to ask the question. Use them. In building success, remember this: goals are a living, breathing document that should be updated regularly. They are not static. Goals and attainment of goals will change. Think of this. Let's say your goal is to bring in 2 people for your club this year. We're now into October and you've brought in 3. Do you just stop? No, I would hope that you would go back, readjust your goals and say, need to readjust that. We're going to bring in 4 or 5 or whatever the number might be. Or what if your goal is you're going to bring in 10 people? We are now into December and you've only brought in 2. Do you think you might want to readjust those goals? Yes, you do. Goals are a living, breathing document, and they should be updated regularly. So I want you to be the key. I want you to be the key to your club's success. We can follow the steps and work the process, but nothing happens without commitment. Believe me, nothing happens without commitment. So I'd like for you to join me and be the key for your club excellence. Again, I want to remind you that at the end of this, your certificates will be available. Also, the items that we talked about in the resource areas are also available for you. So please look for those. There also will be a link to this session recording and all links from the chat. So will also be available. So I just want to say thank you very much for letting me be a part of your evening this evening. Thank you for your attention, and I will now open that up to any questions that someone might have.
Chris, fantastic job. What a great presentation and a great overview of being the key to the success of your club. Before I ask a couple questions, I know there is one resource that I think is really vital to clubs that are going to go through this process, especially if they're going to try to do it on their own. And I'm going to share my screen right now. And that is a resource that we've dropped the link into the chat window a couple of times for. And it is, hold on, let me move my little black box so you can see the whole screen. It is the resource called Plan for Your Club Success. And it really helps walk you through the global membership approach. I'm only going to show you here as I'm scrolling through just a bit of it because it's 16 pages long, but it really walks you through the entire process so you can work with your club directly to set goals for rejuvenating with new members, revitalizing with new service projects, building excellence through leadership development and operations, and then sharing your successes with your community and beyond. And you'll see as you work through this document, and you should have a PDF link in the chat window, that it really does allow you to walk through and have those really important conversations. And by the time you get through all of it, there's a resource checklist. By the time you get through all of it, you have a plan. And that plan, as Chris has proven and shown, and many clubs have shown, really builds success for your club for whatever it is you're trying to do. So thank you. One other piece, I do want to let you know that there has been the question about sharing the entire chat in the follow-up email. That's a bit much, to be honest with you. So what I would suggest you do, if you'd like to download the chat that is available, if you look in the chat window down where you would type in a message, off to the far right, there's a little more sign, a little ellipsis, 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, the first option that is there should say Save Chat. If you hit that Save Chat function, it will automatically save to your computer. When you log off this call, it will ask you where you want to save it. I will promise you that in the follow-up email from Lions Virtual, you will have all the links, but you will not get all the chat. So if you really want the chat, please do save that chat before you leave the session. All right, Chris, are you ready?
Sure, let's go.
All right. The first question, how do you get people to step up to be involved in leadership? I swear it's like pulling teeth to get the majority of members to volunteer to do anything.
Getting folks to step up to take on a leadership role is a challenge. There's no doubt. I wish that I could tell you there is a magical pill that you could give somebody that would say that, yeah, I'm gonna do this. What I think we need to do, and what I see is something that has worked to getting folks to step up, is to talk about the benefits and why it is important to them to step into leadership role. If you can show that what's in it for me, and I hate to say it that way, but what's in it for me? How can this benefit me to be a leader in my Lions Club? If you can show somebody what those benefits are, especially when it comes to things like learning how to talk in front of an audience, how to lead a committee, start them off small. If you're trying to get people to step up, when you get those new lines in there, as I said before, ask them what their passion is. If their passion is something that your club is not doing in a service project, have them take the lead and be the chairperson of that service, of that new service. that gets them involved. Once you get people involved and people start listening to new and improved ideas, you're going to find people are going to want to step up to the plate and take on leadership roles. But it is a process, believe me. It doesn't happen overnight, and you have to be willing to sell the benefits of leadership. So that's about the best way I can answer that.
That is a really great point, because it's always answer the no and make it personal for them. Perfect. All right, question number 2. We're going to the LCIF side of things, Chris. Many club members, struggle with LCIF since they see the importance, but they want their money to stay in their own community. So they donate a little to LCIF, but not as much as they could. The question is, do you have any ideas on how this line could get the club to see that LCIF does not take money away from their community? It enhances our service.
Sure. I mean, we always think of LCIF as being an organ that our foundation is always there in a time of disaster. I mean, that's what we really think about LCIF. But think of the other wonderful things that they do for us. Let's take a club that wants to put in a new park. So they do a matching grant, matching fund grant with LCIF to put in a new park, or to put in new playground equipment that is all-inclusive equipment. There are ways that we can sell this to our club to say, look, if we are able to add a little bit more money than what we're doing right now to Lions Clubs International Foundation, then there might be opportunities for us a year or so down the road if we decide we want to do something big, much less the disaster side of it. I can tell you from personal experience in District 2S1 in Texas, living through Hurricane Harvey, and the money that we received from Lions Clubs International Foundation in support of our MD2 and in support of my district, it was phenomenal. Plus, there's been other areas where we have gone out and asked for grants and received those grants because of bigger projects that we're going to do for the community. So how we can sell our club on doing that, talk about, think big. Think it is, as our international president, Brian Sheehan, says, think big. If we think big and we can think about things that are much bigger than us, this is what Lions Clubs International Foundation is all about. It's about thinking big and doing big things and doing better things. So what is one more dollar a person? If it's $2 per member per year for your club to meet that LCIF contribution, what's one more dollar out of a person's out of the pocket? Ask everybody to pass the hat. Ask everybody to put another buck in. I mean, there's ways that we can do that. Do a fundraiser. I mean, there are ways that we can do things to enhance that LCIF contribution to make it just a little bit better.
I completely agree, Chris. Great answer. And I really think LCIF, we need to understand that President Sheehan's theme, Together We Can, really sums up what it means to be LCIF. Because our club may only be able to donate $100, but your club may be able to donate $50,000. And when we bring all that money together and apply it to the greatest need across the globe, as defined by the Lions, because we're the ones that apply for the grants, it makes the world of difference to everyone. So please do find ways. And if you have more questions on LCIF, I know someone that can help you out. Just reach out and we'll get you hooked up with some more information. All right, here comes a good one. And this one becomes important, especially when we're talking about communication. How do you motivate members to come to club programs? We've done everything possible. We communicate via Viber, Facebook, and email as well, and even give 2 to 3 calls, yet they don't participate in the programs.
Well, this is going to sound silly, but it works. If you're having problems getting people to come to a meeting, offer them something. Offer something. Have a drawing for a $10 gift card, or go to one of your restaurants in your area and get a gift certificate from the restaurant for dinner for 2 or for lunch for 2, whatever the case might be, and say we're going to have a drawing for lunch or for dinner for this, or we're going to do that, do this or do that. Give them something for them to start coming. I'm not saying that is the end all to be all, but is a way to start getting people to start coming. but make sure that when you get them there, that you have a meeting that does the things that a meeting should do. Start on time and end on time, and have something of value for them to be coming to the meeting for. Just don't have it as being a social meeting. Have it to have some meat or some substance to it, and make sure that you start on time, that you follow an agenda, and that you end on time. Most people stop going to a meeting because there's no structure to the meeting. That's my answer to that question. And it may not be the best, but it has, I've seen it work in the past, and it will continue to work.
I agree, Chris, and I think it would add to it. I think we have to define what it means to be a good lion. Does it mean that you have to attend every meeting or any meetings? Are you a good lion if you help with one fundraiser a year and one service project? What does that mean in your club? Because we have to look at the changing needs of our society and the changing needs of our potential members. And going to a meeting doesn't meet everyone's needs. Or maybe you have a dinner that starts at 6 p.m. It's done by 6:30, and the meeting starts at 6:30, so that younger members who have family at home and want to put the kids to bed or whatever can come later in the afternoon or later and still be part of the meeting if they want to, but not miss their family time. So we have to, I think, think outside of the box, as President Bryan has asked us. I've got some more questions for you, Chris. Before I'm going to give a start of an answer to one of them and then let you jump in. But one of the questions was, other than the brochure, where can we get more on how to use GMA in our club? And Natalie reminds us that there is a new webpage coming very soon called Plan for Your Club Success. It's based off of that workbook we were just looking at, that PDF. And it's going to be a phenomenal tool for clubs that are looking for more resources above and beyond your local human resources. That will be announced in the Global Lions Forum as soon as it's ready, and we will all share it out as far as we can. So Chris, did you have anything you wanted to ask about more resources for a club looking to get involved in GMA beyond the brochure?
I always go back to Lions Clubs International website. Go to the search icon and just type in Global Membership Approach. It will take you to the Global Membership Approach webpage. That page is chock-a-block full of information. It takes you through the four steps, and it actually has 4 separate PowerPoint presentations. If you really want to look at that, I mean, it is a valuable tool. And I think if you go there, you just take your time with that. You will come away from that page going, I understand what they're trying to do here. I understand what they mean. I understand what they're talking about. You got to remember, this is a process, folks. It's not a program. It's not something that you're told you got to do this, this, and this. This is a process. You figure out what is the best for your club through this process. And your club is going to do what your club wants to do. So that's the beauty part about this. If you just think of it in that term, it will do you so much good for your club. It really will. Yeah,
your club, your way. And
right.
I would really lean heavily on all the GAT leaders, the Global Action Team leaders and the Global Membership Approach leaders. I'm reiterating, I know what you've already said 10 times, but I don't think we can say that enough. Those individuals are trained to support your club through all of this, help you work through the process. And this kind of builds into another question that came up in the chat. How do you recommend working through goal setting when you have a divided club?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I would have to follow that question with another question. In what way is it divided? Is it divided by age groups, or is it divided by clique? Are there two different special interests, and what is the division? But getting back to the basic question, how do you do that? You have to be able, and you have to be willing to say, look, let's leave our differences at the door. Let's come in for the betterment of the club. Let's come in for the betterment of our organization. It's the legacy that we're going to try to move forward here. Is this the legacy that we want? What is it that we want to do? Yes, there always is going to be. There's going to be in things with folks, inroads that people are going to have to work through, but we have to leave those at the door come in and for the betterment of the club, work on building a plan that will help our club grow and help our club grow, not only in membership, but in service and within leadership. So to me, that is how I'd answer that. Leave all that at the door, come in with an open mind and let's go to work.
I would also suggest that you reach out to your district global membership coordinator, approach coordinator, your district governor, if you have a certified guiding line coordinator, to invite someone that's already trained in this process to come in and work your club through the process. It's very hard to overcome some of those challenges if one of the people that's rubbing some of the people the wrong way, if there's a personality conflict, is a person trying to lead the session. So, you know, an expert is anyone that's from 50 miles away. In this case, I'd say an expert is anyone who's outside of your club that's been trained to do it. So reach out to your district people and see if there's someone there that can help you through that process.
I think you're right. I think all goes back to the resources that we had, which were the human resources, using either your zone chair, your district GMA coordinator, or any one of the district governor leadership team. Yes.
We have another question, and this one, are you ready? Are you sitting down? Because this one might take a little bit of thinking. It is, how can you bridge the gap in Lions? More focused really about how can you get the old guard Lions to try new things and ideas, which are going to come from this process, and still use parts of the time-honored approaches to make them comfortable?
Well, that's a good question. And I probably have an answer that you would not think about. Take an old guard, somebody who's been around in Lions for 40 years, and say, okay, in the last 40 years, have we grown or have we decreased? Doing the same thing we've been doing for the last 40 years, where are we compared to 40 years ago? Now, the answer to that is we have decreased tremendously. Our membership has gone down. So if we're doing the same thing, if we continue to do the same thing that we've been doing in the past and it hasn't worked, then maybe, just maybe, I don't know, try something new. I mean, you know, I hate to go back to using an old phrase or statement. If you've always done what you always do, you'll always get what you always got. I mean, but that is in fact true. If we don't change, what is going to happen? So, and that is exactly what I use with old guard in my district. And you should see the light bulbs come on. All of a sudden you say that and it's like, I didn't think about it though, but you're right. We've been doing it this way for 4 years and oh my gosh, we were here and now we're here. Maybe we should take a look at trying something new.
Great point. Very great point. We are wrapping up here on our time. We try to keep it to an hour and 15 or so, and we're getting a little after 8 o'clock here. And we have a couple other things to cover. If there's any last questions here, I think I caught all of them from the chat. First and foremost, I would love to thank you for sharing all your knowledge, Chris. Your experience in being a pilot program for what was called NAMI when we started and what we now know as the Global Membership Approach or GMA is invaluable. And your willingness to share that with all of us is just phenomenal. So before we hang up, let me share with you a couple of events that are coming up, and then we'll come back with some final comments from Chris. And hey, my friend Richard, before we do that, I'm going to unhighlight Richard or Chris and I, and I'm going to ask you to do the best thing, one of the best things you do, which is get us all to take a fun picture. So Richard, how do you want to go about that?
Well, first of all, everybody put your camera on so we can see your pretty faces. And then when we're all ready, I'm going to give you, there you go, Lisa. I'm going to give you a hint. Are we all ready? And I'm going to have to go through 5 different groups here. So be patient. Look at your camera. Don't look at your screen, but look at your camera. Now I go to the next page and we do the same thing. And here we go. And then we go to the next page and do the same thing. And here we go. And we go to the next page and do the same thing. Are you all ready? And here's the last page. And we're ready. Aha! Thank you so much.
Oh, Richard, that always makes me smile. It is, I've been on, I don't know how many hundreds of calls it feels like with you since pandemic started. And that is one of my favorite parts of every call we do is Richard taking photos. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Kim, for the reminder in the chat because I was supposed to have reminded us to do that earlier. So the last piece I wanted to share with you tonight is that we have ongoing learning opportunities between Lions Virtual and the Global Lions Forum. Please go out and go to Lions Virtual YouTube channel where we house all of these sessions and other trainings and inspirational sessions that we've held since the beginning of the pandemic that you can feel free to download and use for your own personal use or to share with your club and others that would benefit from it. And then the crowning jewel of everything that's come up since the pandemic is really the Global Lions Forum. They're up well over 15,000 members now. It is a Facebook group that is made up of only Lions. And you can ask the questions we've been asking in the chat and get answers from Lions across the globe. It is a fantastic networking opportunity for learning, for celebrating Lionism, and for really understanding the true nature of being a Lion. So that, my friends, is the last I had to share. I'm going to highlight our fantastic presenter again, Chris, and ask him if he has anything he would like to share to wrap us up.
About the only thing that I would like to say, I got a couple of things. One is thank you so much for the opportunity to present the global membership approach to this wide audience of Lions. I'm thrilled to be here, and it was an honor. More importantly, take the global membership approach to heart. We have done things in Lions the same way for so many years, and it's gotten us to the point to where we are now. Not all constitutional areas are down in membership, but there are a number of us that are. And if we take a look at this approach and we put it into action, and we just follow the process, it will help us to grow in all areas, not just membership. And I think that's the critical part about this. It has to be understood that it is a process. And I can tell you, if I can be of any help to anybody, all you need to do is send me an email. If I can't answer a question for you, if I can't get you the information that you need, believe me, I know somebody somewhere in Lions that can get that information. But I am here to help. I'm here to provide any kind of assistance that anyone might need. And I would also say, please take the time to be a member of the Global Lions Forum and continue to view and take advantage of the virtual Lions Forum with all these great opportunities that they're providing for us in Lions. So Jody, thank you. Richard, thank you. Everyone else, thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. With that, Chris, thank you. Last reminder that we will have an email out to you coming from Lions Virtual to all registrants with a participant certificate of let's start again. With the certificate of participation, the recording from tonight's session, the support materials we've referenced this evening, and also all the links that were talked about in the chat window. Thank you for all you do. Keep serving, keep smiling, and remember, together we can, and together we will. See you all down the road.